I'm going to talk about another controversial topic that something that's been going around in my mind. Now, this is a weird one, and I'm not sure at all if I'm right, but I'm going to throw my thoughts out loud, and it'd be interesting to hear, your views on this. Look, I've done a talk before about white nationalism on the rise and what's driving it, and if it's a power struggle between white nationalists and globalists / neoliberals / corporate Zionists, etc. One has power, let's say the Zionist neoliberals, and the other, white nationalist, the white tribe, is trying to wrest power off them. And some people have said to me, no, Oscar, they're all white supremacists, and it's just one big system, and they're not fighting each other. Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy that at the moment. Let's just look at Charlottesville. Yeah, why is it that the people who went to that march, the white nationalists that went there, are all getting sacked, all getting kicked out of university? If the system supported white nationalism, the white tribe, as we believe, or as we're led to believe, then why are they getting sacked? Because the system backs them, right? Now, they wouldn't be getting sacked if you were part of the white nationalist movement. You'd be getting promotion. You're getting the best jobs in the country, right? Because that is the system in power. You'd only get sacked or kicked out of university for attending a rally like that or a march like that if you were actually opposing the power structure. Now, let's look in the converse, right? Casey Hopkins, equally as racist, more racist than those white nationalists, in my opinion, yeah? But part of the system, Zionists, I believe she's from a Jewish background. She says things like let little children die at sea, yeah. Turn gunboats and kill them in the, let them drown in the sea, yeah. Constantly, the most vile hatred against Muslims. And what happens to her? She's part of the system, and she gets hundreds and thousands of pounds in contracts from major media outlets. So both racists. But yet one is part of the system, the globalist system, Zionist system, and one isn't. So the white nationalist tribe that wants it goes on a march when people film them, take pictures of them, and they pay the price. The other one says exactly the same thing as a white nationalist, but against Muslims, right? But is in power and gets rewarded for it. So I would argue they're not the same. The Zionists are in power, the globalists are in power, and white tribe, the people, this white tribe group is out of power and they want it back. And as far as Muslims and black people and all that are concerned, we're fighting the wrong war. We should stay out of it. It's not our fight. We are being used, as I've said before, to fight the globalist fight for them as if it's some sort of anti-racist fight against racists. No, they're both racist. But I'm going to move it on here. I was just thinking about it, and I'm thinking, why are we? I've just been listening into some of these kind of white nationalist speakers and intellectuals, and hearing what their arguments are. And it's very interesting. They keep talking about immigration being a game that Jewish Zionists played and pushed for within Europe and America. And they wanted immigration, a massive amount of immigration, to come into Western countries because it would break the power of white nationalists. And I don't know, how true that is. But I did think to myself, I thought, well, why would there be so much immigration into the West? Pardon me. Why? I mean, what's the driver behind immigrants coming to the West? Why does the West need so many immigrants? Why are they even allowing them in? If it's a white, currently, as some people on my Facebook and Twitter have said, that no, it's currently, it's already a white supremacist system. If it's a white supremacist, why are they allowing so many brown guys in and black guys in? That doesn't make sense, right? So what is it? What's the driver? There has to be something more to it. And I don't know what that driver is. Why is there so many of us there? And then there is this thing that says, well, hold on, if we're here, we are going to want to stay there because they've destroyed our countries where it's economically better in the West. So we're going to stay there. And by staying there, we are going to be a challenge to white nationalists, aren't we? So doesn't it serve the purpose of globalists that there is more immigration? Because we are fighting them for our own economic status. Now, any human being would do that, but in a way it also shows that if these guys are right, we're pawns in someone else's game. If you look at anywhere around the world, and look, we're Muslims, and I'm primarily talking to Muslims here. Muslims don't believe in this kind of border malarkey where one human being, is treated differently or excluded because of a line in the sand. We believe that God is sovereign and God created the earth, and you go where you want and live, and you should be able to live a just and fruitful life wherever God allows you to go. But once if you weren't a Muslim, then surely you'd be tribal in nature, and you'd think, well, why are they coming into my part of my tribal land, right? This is my land. I'm the dominant tribe. What's this other big group, this other big tribe coming in? You would naturally see it as a threat. I've heard Pakistanis talk about Afghans and Muslims from India coming to Pakistan in derogatory fashion, saying, oh, these Afghans have caused so much crime in Pakistan. These are supposedly Muslims, and Muslims are talking about other Muslims who are refugees at the end of the day in this kind of what is not far off from EDL racist. So if Muslims who don't have real belief in Allah and don't see themselves through the lens of Islam, but just being brought up as Muslims, let's say, can think like that, then it's natural that everyone else will also think like that, because that's a state. If you don't have Islam in your life, you're going to be you're going to have some sort of tribal affinity because you don't have a higher cause, a higher God that teaches you something better. So white people were bound to have this reaction against us. Now, we didn't ask we didn't realize we were part of this wider game. We just came for a better life because our lives were destroyed by wars or colonization in the East. So any human being would want to go anywhere else to make his life slightly better, and that's why we landed here. But are we just part of some bigger game and now ending up abused minority because globalists needed us to fight their battle for them right here in the Western world? Just a thought. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.